Welcome to Israel 365 News. I'm your host, David Sidman, here with Rabbi Tuli Wise. Rabbi, how are you today?
I'm good, David. How are you?
Good, thanks. Let's get right to it. Today's top story. An official from the United Arab Emirates has actually announced that sovereignty in Judea and Samaria will not hinder peace efforts, which is quite a revolutionary statement coming from the head of a Gulf state, who actually says that when Jews conquer the land of Israel, the biblical ancient homeland of Israel, which is of course Judea and Samaria, it will not be an obstacle to peace. I think that is a pretty historic statement that we can all get behind. Would you agree, Tuli?
Absolutely, because everyone was saying that settlements are the obstacle to peace, and finally you're hearing it from the UAE that really they don't even care. It's not the only historic statement that was made today in the UAE. Coming from the UAE, Jared Kushner said today that he expects all 22 Arab states to make peace with Israel. He said they all want to and basically have been prevented to because of the Palestinian veto.
Well, yeah, that's interesting because a lot of people see the UAE Israel Abrahamic Accords deal as something that's only isolated to the United Arab Emirates. But now we're learning that this is much bigger than we realize. We're talking about all 22 Arab states. It's completely unimaginable only a year ago that all 22 Arab Muslim states would actually recognize Israel and normalize relations with them. Completely unprecedented. And it's all thanks to Trump's peace efforts. It actually leads into a story that Eliyahu Berkowitz wrote today about the true sons of Ishmael coming up onto the Temple Mount. Now, when we talk about the true sons of Ishmael, we're talking about Arabs from the Emirates, not the Palestinians. Because first of all, in the Arab world, Palestinians aren't really considered true Arabs. Believe it or not, they're considered to be kind of a mixed bag of Greeks and Turks and other nomads who traveled through the region. And so there's an ancient prophecy in the Zohar, which is the book of Kabbalah, that says that the sons of Ishmael will come up to the Temple Mount and pray to God. And with these Abrahamic Accords and the UAE Israel deal, this is actually coming to fruition, it seems like, and that's precisely what Eliyahu Berkowitz spoke about in his article today.
That's right. It's a real paradigm shift because, until now, the Temple Mount has been sort of primarily been occupied by the Palestinians, and they have had sort of this exclusive monopoly, and the Jordanians on the Temple Mount, really boxing out so many of the other Arabs. And in the article in today's Israel 365 News, we explain how they perhaps are not the true sons of Ishmael, and there's a lot more to meet the eyes. So stay with us. We're about to hear more.
We just got one more story I just want to get in real quick.
Sure.
That's okay. Terror alert. There was a car ramming in the Tapuach Junction today, which is in Samaria. An Arab terrorist rammed his car into a soldier and a policeman and came out of the vehicle trying to stab both of them. Some alert police officers were on the scene, shot the terrorist, who is now in serious condition, and the soldier and policeman who were victims of the car ramming are in light condition.
Yeah, so please pray for the victims of the terror attack. As always, pray for the peace of Jerusalem. And it's an ongoing struggle here in the land of Israel when it comes to the Palestinian terror. We're about to go to our prophecy reporter, Eliyahu Berkowitz, who has with him a guest on today's show, Harry Moskoff. We'll talk about the secret tunnels on the Temple Mount just after this quick break. The prophet Isaiah says in chapter 40, "Comfort, comfort my people, O Israel." And friends, we have a special opportunity to not only comfort the people of Israel, but to comfort the Holocaust survivors whose health is failing and their needs are increasing. And please, please, I implore you to partner with Israel 365 in order to provide comfort to the Holocaust survivors in Israel today.
Hi, this is Adam Eliyahu Berkowitz. I'm the feature articles writer for Breaking Israel News. We spend a lot of time writing about biblical archaeology or archaeology in Israel. And the special thing about archaeology in Israel is it's not just a dry science, it's really digging up the proof of the Bible, the actual artifacts from the Bible. And to put it simply, um, there's there's a battle going on between the powers of light and the powers of darkness. The powers of darkness are actually trying to prevent the science of archaeology. And this happened last week through an amazing thing where basically I think a truck was driving around and broke a flagstone on the Temple Mount, and underneath the flagstone was a tunnel. And most people who in the Jewish sources especially, we learn about a tunnel complex underneath the Temple Mount. Some of it was used for the actual service in the temple, and some of it was not so essential to the temple service. There were cisterns, there were sewers, also even taking out the blood from the altar to the river. And what happened as a result, you would think that a tunnel, which was certified by an archaeologist, Tzachi Dvira, said that this was from the second temple, and it was filled in with concrete before any archaeologist could even look at it. So I'm here talking with Harry Moskoff, Rabbi Harry Moskoff, the author of the Ark Report. He's an investigative author, journalist. He is very cogent in the Jewish sources referring to all these things, especially the Temple Mount. And he was on top of this. He saw the truck on the Temple Mount. So Harry, I'd like to thank you for being here. I'd like to ask you one question. Do you think this tunnel that they discovered? Do you think could be part of the tunnel complex of the Temple Mount?
Well, that's the question that everybody seems to be asking. First of all, I just wanted to say Mazel Tov to Tilly and David on the Israel 365 newscast. That's the updates is fantastic. Great job, and glad to be here. Yes, Eliyahu, that's what everyone's asking. Could it possibly be? Now, it may be, quote unquote, just a drainage channel that was made by the Romans, still 2,000 years old, going down into the Kidron Valley that you mentioned before. But even if that is the case, it still needs to be treated like a real archaeological, of course it is, an actual excavation site. Now, it may be also something more than that. It is very possible, unlikely, but still possible, that it really does have something to do with the temple environment, the temple compound itself. It could be an air shaft or even a light shaft leading into one of the tunnels that the Kohanim, the priests, my own ancestors used to go from the temple complex down into the tunnel, like it says in the Talmud, all the way over to the southern wall, into a mikveh, to a ritual bath. So at different points along the way, it makes sense that they would need an air shaft or a light shaft to help them, even though they had, as it says in the Mishnah, they had little places for candles to go there. So it could be, which would really be an incredible find.
In your book, which I just couldn't put down and read it in one sitting, not because it was short, it was an amazing book. You discuss that according to the Jewish sources, the Ark of the Covenant was actually hidden in a chamber underneath the site with the Golden Dome, the Dome of the Rock. I think we have a technical problem. We lost Harry for a moment. But in his book, he discusses that there was a special chamber prepared specifically yes, here we have his book, The Ark Report, a special chamber prepared for the Ark of the Covenant to be hidden. So the fact that we cannot find the Ark of the Covenant today, it's because we are not being allowed to investigate these tunnels like the one that was opened up. If Harry comes back, we'll interview him. I'd just like to stress that the horrible aspect of this was that not only, I mean, as a Jew, I'm very interested in investigating the Temple Mount for spiritual reasons, but you have archaeologists who are tearing their hair out because here they had an opportunity to investigate a tunnel from over 2,000 years ago. We don't know how long ago. That area was constructed by Herod, and they were prevented, all because of politics. I think it's more than politics. I think it's actually the war against light and darkness. So that was absolutely prevented. And I interviewed Tzachi Dvira, who works on the Sifting Project, and the Sifting Project was created after the Waqf, the Muslim Authority, did an illegal construction project and literally hauled away truckloads full of earth, and the earth was artifact rich. They've been literally sifting it, and they reconstructed a section of the temple mosaic floor. They found countless artifacts, and this was from illegal construction that's going on. This illegal construction has huge archaeological significance. It has huge political significance, and also we are talking about the temple. So this was just filled in with concrete and ignored. And that's just happened last week. Hi, Tuli.
Okay. Thank you, Eliyahu. Thank you, Eliyahu, for that report. Thank you, Eliyahu, so much. And thank you, Harry Moskoff, for being the expert when it comes to the Temple Mount and the tunnels underneath the Temple Mount. We are so excited about Israel 365 News. Obviously, we are figuring it out. We appreciate your patience. And we want you to, most importantly, continue to pray for the peace of Jerusalem every single day. Shalom from Israel.